for the non-teaching staff. Over to you, Dominic.
Distinguished dignitaries, my esteemed teachers, teaching and non-teaching staff, students, and the very special people who have contributed to this institution and for whom this Golden Jubilee function is dedicated. It gives me great pleasure to announce the names of the non-teaching staff who have dedicated their invaluable service to this institution. We will now proceed to felicitate them. I now request Mr. Roshan, the student superintendent, to escort the staff on stage. I request Father Lawrence D'Souza, Director at St. John's National Academy of Health Sciences, to escort His Eminence Mar George Cardinal Alancherry to the stage. The institution has prepared scrolls of honor to be presented to the staff today. I request His Eminence to kindly present the scrolls to the non-teaching staff as their names are called. Come. Mr. D.D. James, who retired as the Superintendent of Accounts and had 36 years of service at St. John's. Mr. K.M. Francis is represented by his wife, and he retired as the Deputy Superintendent Accounts with 31 years of service. Mr. C.T. Varki from the Accounts, who retired as the Upper Divisional Clerk and did 31 years of service here. Mr. C.T. Varki. Mrs. Fatima Joseph, who was the Departmental Secretary in the Admissions Office and did 38 years of service in this institution. Mrs. Benzie Joseph, who was a UDC cum steno in the Department of Anatomy and did 30 years of service at St. John's. Mr. Pandarinath Jatla, the museum technologist, who worked both in the Department of Community Health and Anatomy and put in 34 years of service. Mr. R. Victor, who was a technical assistant in Anatomy and was there when I was a student and put in 30 years of service. Mr. D. Brosilis, a junior lab technician grade 2 from Anatomy, who did 31 years of service. Mrs. J. Lakshmama, junior lab technician grade 2 from Anatomy, again who put in 24 years of service. Mr. K. N. Rajan, junior lab technician in biochemistry, who put in 37 years of service. Mr. M.B. Kadam, a lab assistant, biochemistry, who put in 38 years of service. Mr. Dixon Emmanuel, senior lab assistant, biochemistry, who put in 34 years of service. Mrs. S. Roberts, technical assistant in biochemistry, who put in 31 years of service. Mr. L. Victor, junior lab technician, biochemistry, who put in 40 years of service. Mr. Jagdish Mohan, senior lab technician and manager of the Community Health Center. Many students will know him. Worked in the Department of Community Health for 44 years. Mrs. G. Ryan, personal assistant in the Dean's office for 32 years. Yeah, Mrs. Ryan. Mrs. Mary Jayapal, Personal Secretary in the Director's Office, who put in 46 years. Mr. S. Kristuraj, the carpenter in the estate section, who put in 21 years. Mr. B. M. Punappa, a driver in the estate section, who in the institute put in 9 years, but as the Rome driver put in a large number of years before that. I thank you, Your Eminence, and I request Father to escort him off, to take His Eminence off from the stage, and I request Father Lawrence D'Souza to escort His Eminence Basilius Cardinal Clemis, the President of CBCI. We now have the most familiar face. Face on the campus, Mrs. A. Salome, a helper in the estate section. Mr. S. M. Benedict, who put in 28 years of service. Mr. M. Uthandi, who was a person who worked in the lifts of the college, who put in 34 years of service. Mr. M. K. Mohana Ranjan, senior technician in the estate, who put in 28 years of service. Mr. Thomas Joseph, superintendent in the estate section, who put in 35 years of service. Mr. J. Philomena Raj, sweeper in the estate, who put in 36 years of service. Mrs. Kamalama, sweeper in the estate, who put in 36 years of service. Mr. D. Muniappa, sweeper in the estate, who put in 32 years of service. Miss Graceama George, UDC in the estate section, who put in 34 years of service. Mr. John Bosco, watchman in the estate, who put in 34 years of service. Mr. C. Munuswamy, helper, forensic medicine, who put in 40 years of service. Mrs. Philomena, helper in the hostel, who put in 30 years of service. Mr. Anand Raju, librarian in the library, 29 years of service. Mr. M. Lazar, helper in the library, who put in 38 years of service. Mr. Jose Thomas, artist cum modeler in the medical illustration department, who put in 31 years of service. Mr. Abdul Aziz, pump operator in the men's hostel, who put in 38 years of service. Thank you, Your Eminence. I now request Father Lawrence to escort His Eminence off the stage. I request Father Lawrence D'Souza, Director, to escort Most Reverend Francis Kalarical, Chairman, Governing Board, to the stage. I request His Grace to kindly present the scrolls to the non-teaching staff. Mrs. Lakshmi Menon, Department Secretary, Microbiology, who put in 36 years of service. Mr. V. Tirunganam, Junior Lab Technician, Microbiology, who put in 26 years of service. Mr. D.P. Fatiraj, Junior Lab Technician, Microbiology, who put in 34 years of service. Mr. S. Santapan, Senior Lab Tech Assistant, Microbiology, who put in 28 years of service. Mrs. A. Joseph, UDC, Microbiology, who put in 38 years of service. Mr. Harry Lawrence, UDC, Microbiology, who put in 39 years of service. Mr. D.P. Kanikaswamy, Junior Lab Technician, Pathology, who put in 34 years of service. Mr. S. Arokia Das, Senior Lab Technician, Pathology, who put in 37 years of service. Mr. John Tellis, Junior Lab Technician, Pathology, put in 35 years of service. Mrs. L. Flora, Department Secretary, Pathology, who put in 38 years of service. Ms. K. Sonabai, Senior Lab Technician, Pharmacology, who put in 18 years of service. Mr. Veda Manikyam, Junior Lab Technician, Grade 2, Pharmacology, who put in 40 years of service. Mrs. Selina Joseph, Department Secretary, Pharmacology, who put in 39 years of service. Mr. K.J. Lewis, who worked in the Department of Physiology and put in 34 years of service. Mr. Sitaramaya, Senior Marker, Sports and Games, 32 years. Mr. P.T. Joseph, the Student Superintendent of the Student Section, who put in 34 years of service. And finally, Mr. Suzay Raj Babu, helper in the admissions office, who put in 38 years of service. Thank you, Your Grace. I request Father Lawrence to escort His Grace off the stage. Thank you. I now hand the mic over to Dr. Bobby Joseph to present the teaching staff, many of whom have taught me.
Thank you, Dominic. Dr. Dominic. I'll never hear the end of that. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, teachers of St. John's Medical College, it's indeed my honor to present the faculty of St. John's who've served this institution for many years. You know what they say about teachers, and do forgive me if you see me shivering, my voice breaking, and I'm really in awe of them. So as they keep coming up, can I I'd like to mention also that last year, at the inauguration of the Golden Jubilee, some of our faculty members were honored and presented plaques on that occasion. Just to give you the list of some of them here, who have been kind enough to come and join us again today. Dr. I. Manorama Thomas from the Department of Anatomy. Give them a hand, ladies and gentlemen. Dr. John Thomas from the Department of Pathology. Dr. Sheila Daniel from the Department of Psychiatry. Dr. T. Venkatesh from the Department of Biochemistry. Mr. As Mohammed from the Department of Community Medicine. Dr. Elizabeth Jai Seelan from the Department of Dermatology. And Mr. Somesh Kripa from the Department of Physical Education. Thank you, sirs and ma'ams, for coming here today. May I now request our Director, Father Lawrence D'Souza, to kindly escort His Eminence Oswald Cardinal Gracious to the stage to honor our first few teachers. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm proud to present, starting with Dr. Flossie Jaikaran from the Department of Anatomy, who worked here till the year 2005 and resigned as an associate professor. Following her is Dr. Leelavati, an assistant professor in the Department of Anatomy up to the year 2008. Dr. Maruti K.N. from the Department of Physiology, an associate professor till the year 2009. Dr. Prakash Shetty, professor and head of the Department of Physiology, up to the year 1994. Dr. Reynold Washington from the Department of Community Health, up to the year 2004. Dr. Ravi Narayan from up to the year 1983 as an assistant professor in the Department of Community Health, and his wife, Dr. Thelma Narayan, an assistant professor in the Department of Community Health. Dr. Anthony Vijay Pes from the Department of General Surgery, and Dr. Arun Kilpadi from the Department of General Surgery. Thank you, Your Eminence. May I request Father Lawrence D'Souza to now escort His Eminence Cardinal Gracious back to the auditorium, and I request him to escort His Eminence Telespor P. Cardinal Topo to the stage. Dr. T.K. Lakshmikant, retired professor of the Department of General Surgery. Dr. Tejas Job from the Department of Anesthesiology. Dr. Subbarao from the Department of Pediatrics. Dr. Swarna Rekha Bhatt from the Department of Pediatrics. Dr. Balakrishnan from the Department of Pediatrics. Dr. Namita Sinha from the Department of Radiology. Dr. Vinod Joseph, also from the Department of Radiology, up to the year 2005. Dr. R. Batu from the Department of Ophthalmology up to the year 2005. Dr. Sri Krishna S.V. from the Department of Cardiothoracic Surgery up to the year 2006. Dr. Josephine Harini from the Department of Psychiatry up to the year 2013. And Dr. Suhail Hassan from the Department of ENT up to the year 1999. Thank you, Your Eminence. Thank you. May I request our Director for the Lawrence D'Souza to escort His Grace Most Reverend Albert D'Souza to the stage. Dr. Rajni Makadan from the Department of Microbiology. My mentor in the medical college, Dr. Thangam Joseph from the Department of Pharmacology. Dr. M.K. Babu from the Department of Pathology. Dr. Ramdev from the Department of Surgery. Dr. M.K. Chandrasekhar from the Department of Pediatrics. Dr. Lalita Talwarkar from the Department of Anesthesiology. Dr. Mahabaleshwar from the Department of Ophthalmology. Dr. Virupaksha from the Department of Biochemistry. Dr. Rajagopalan N. from the Department of Orthopedics. And Dr. Ashley De Cruz from the Department of Pediatric Surgery. We have one more, Dr. Nagamani? Dr. Nagamani Mohan also from the Department of Microbiology. Come. We have one more recognition, which is to Mr. Chandru, who is the person who's designed all our plaques and our scrolls for today. May I request Mr. Chandru to come up on stage, please? Okay, he's coming. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Chandru has been instrumental in designing the plaques and the scrolls both last year and this year. Thank you very much, Mr. Chandru. Thank you very much, Your Grace. Thank you, Father Lawrence. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Dr. Bobby and Dr. Dominic. I am now left with the stage all to myself, and the rest of the cultural evening shall progress as soon as everyone is ready backstage. I have been asked to talk and say as I please to cover up for the time, so I finally get my chance. Yeah. Dinner will be served in a short while. Attendees there have been arrangements made backstage to take you all to the venue. We have a huge list on today. We have a duet, we have origami, we have what have you, group dances. Reggie Koshi's promised to come out and dance if, no? Okay. He's an ex-president, so I can afford to say these things about him. Arvind? My winning smile is not cutting it. All right. We have a slight technical hitch. We'll be back in precisely 5 minutes. Less than that, Arvind says. Moment someone sprints across the console at the back and plays the music. Please bear with us for the next 3 to 5 minutes. Dominic and Bobby have done such a wonderful job that we did not expect to finish in such a short time. And also, we didn't expect our previous staff members to be as fit as they are. We would think that each would take, we budgeted about 3 to 5 minutes for each to just walk up backstage. And Father Lawrence, we didn't know was such a good athlete. He was sprinting down and up and down with those bishops and the cardinals. Before we could say, Arvind, he would be here. Excellent. Father Lawrence has decided to save my bacon for the day, and he would like to say a few words at this point. I do believe none of you need an introduction to Father Lawrence. We are being beamed worldwide, so Father Lawrence.
Thank you, Praveen. Thank you, Dr. Arvind. I only express my happiness on this occasion. We have the President of CBCI, the immediate past President of CBCI, Oswald Cardinal Gracious, Cardinal Telesportopo, Cardinal Alan Cherry left a while ago, and other archbishops, members of the standing committee with us. This is a little cultural evening we wanted to organize, and during this time we wanted to felicitate the retired staff and those who resigned after making a significant contribution to the growth of St. John's Medical College. That is what we did. Actually, we had given them 1 hour 15 minutes. We are ahead of time because everything went on so well. Praveen and others don't know how to kill this time. But anyway, I am here to extend a warm welcome to all our prelates, members of the standing committee. Dr. Srinivasan, Dean, did welcome at the beginning of the program, but our archbishops, cardinals were not there. Actually, they had cut short their schedule today for our sake. Therefore, Your Eminences, Your Excellencies, we are extremely grateful to you. And a cultural bonanza will follow, and you will enjoy it for another half an hour or 45 minutes. And then we will have a dinner together with all those who have been felicitated today. We are very happy that so many of you could come with so much joy, so much pride in your hearts, and our hearts are filled with gratitude, filled with sentiments of love towards you, because you have rendered selfless service to our institution, and today, if the institution has such a big brand name all over the world, you have contributed mightily towards it. And therefore, we wanted to do this in the core committee. Everybody was unanimously saying, we must have this, we must do it. We would have liked to have it on the 9th, but 9th being a Saturday, our bishops, standing committee members will have to get back to their dioceses soon after the program. So we will have only a public function starting at 9:30. Then there will be a short interval, half an hour. Then we will have the Eucharistic celebration, which will be followed by a Jubilee lunch. So I am extending a warm invitation to all of you today itself. We have already invited you. Do come and let's all celebrate together. Let's all count our blessings together. So as I extend a warm welcome to all our standing committee members, I also thank them. And I have a small request to make. Cardinal Clemis will be presiding over the function on the 9th. We would like to have a few words from His Eminence Oswald Cardinal Gracious on this occasion. He is the immediate past president of the CBCI. So I have not asked him to say a few words. On the spot, I am requesting him. Your Eminence, I am sorry for springing this surprise at you. Please come up and say a few words, advising us and telling us how you feel. Thank you.
Your Eminence, Cardinal Clemis, Brother Cardinal Telesphore, my dear bishops and my dear friends, doctors, I am alerting Cardinal Topo that in case they're not ready by the time I finish my speech, I'm going to request you also to come over here. It's a delight to be over here. I missed the inaugural. I was out of the country at an engagement, and then we had Cardinal Clemis was then vice president who inaugurated the Jubilee year. As I was sitting over there, I want to say, I feel that we have legitimate pride in St. John's. It's such a beautiful institution, running so well, of high standard, the doctors, top-notch doctors, got great facilities over here, good health care, and a hospital that is and a medical college and the whole complex, which is continuously striving for excellence and trying to improve itself. Having been on the standing committee, on the general body, and also for some time on the governing body of St. John's, I know how much effort is put to see, to examine every department and to see how we can serve the people better, how we can make the doctors comfortable, how we can take care of the staff, how the place could continuously improve. We've been seeing a lot of material improvements, a lot of material buildings coming up, but all these are continuously upgrading the institute. One of the great things of St. John's has been, the last few years, I think, the focus on research. I want to share with you that in our earlier governing body meetings about 10 years or so ago, we were always wondering now for the college to have national status, international status, medical college, it should also start getting into research. And now that's again a well-established office already, department already, which is making a contribution. So we can see that there is growth over here in St. John's. Today, medicine is improving so very much. There's so much of advancement in research, in medicine, and therefore facilities, people are getting better facilities. But our focus at St. John's, 50 years ago when it was begun by Cardinal Gracious and the Archbishop of Bangalore, Archbishop of Madras, Archbishop Matthias, Pothukumari. The vision was to create a whole cadre of doctors who would have really ethical principles and serve the whole country. Gradually then the founding fathers also thought of a focus on the rural area of India, which was underserved, and I think many of our doctors have been going over there. That's one of our priorities which we've been having. It has been fulfilled. Recently we have been evaluating our whole admission policies. We are also restricted by the Medical Council of India. But to see how within these parameters we can make this college and this hospital really something which is a model for others. Others can also carry on. I want to know whether they are ready or I've got to call Cardinal Topo. They're ready. And so I want to say once again, one of the things again as I conclude, to say that the doctors over here who have served this place, and I was impressed honestly by the longevity. Some have longevity of those who have stayed in the college. 30, 40 years means you love the institute, otherwise you'd have had a quick turnover. I want to thank you very much in behalf of the bishops, the church in India, all of us. You've been great. You've kept this place great, and have St. John's in your heart, and whatever you can do for St. John's, do it, even now when you're out, because St. John's is yours. This is your home. Thank you. God bless you. Congratulations.
Thank you, Cardinal Gracious and Father Lawrence. Arvind, we are now ready, right? Yeah, thank you. The last time I'd seen so many bishops was when I was selected into St. John's, and I was as nervous then as I am now. So when the lights are off, it's much easier on me. Thank you. We make friends. Some become dearest. Some become special. Even in the worst of times, your friend can bring an eternal smile to your face. Here is a duet dance by Nitya and Jessica as a tribute to one such everlasting friendship.